Yo, what's up guys? Welcome back to the channel. So today we're going to be taking a look at the brand new Scareclaw archetype with the new Lich Heart. Now, what the heck does this deck do? Because flip effects generally aren't going to be considered like super good, or just setting monsters in general in Yu-Gi-Oh! Haven't been seeing some play in quite some time. Now, what the new card is Lich Heart that enables a lot more plays for the archetype. Well, we're going to go ahead and see it go away here. But basically what you do is you make this earlier on, and then it lets you add a primitive planet from your deck to your hand. Or if you control Vicious Starfrost, you can special summon this card from your graveyard. So it's a pretty big deal just in general, just being able to add the field spell. And what the heck does the field spell do? Well, we got to go back to it. So primitive planet is actually really good. So it lets you add a Scareclaw monster or a Vicious Starfrost from your deck to your hand. Vicious Starfrost is a very important card as it enables a lot more plays for the deck. It also has a bonus of monsters your opponent controls lose 100 attack and defense for each defense position monster in the field. Generally, you can have like 3 to 4 monsters. I mean, if you have all, 500 is like okay, but the stat boost is kind of meh. It's mainly the add, but if there are 3 or more defense position monsters on the field, you get to target a card your opponent controls and destroy it. You can only use its effect of it once per turn. So that's the effect of it. Lets you search out specifically like Vicious Starfrost. That's a really good effect. But what the heck does the deck end on? So you have a disruption over here with a quick effect, and we're going to also see them use the Scareclaw slash over here. But really what the goal of the deck is to do is to make Scareclaw try hard. Now, what the heck does this do? So, first off, it must be link summoned, and then all face-up monsters on the field are changed to defense position. So it makes it so it's kind of harder for them to actually attack your stuff, with the exception of link monsters. And it's also unaffected by the activated effects of defense position monsters. So this card basically protects itself, and it tries to put everything in defense mode so you can kind of stall and get everything ready to go to follow up for it next turn plays. But then on top of that, once per turn, if this card is in the extra monster zone, you can target a level 3 Scareclaw monster in your graveyard, and you get to special summon it. And if you do, you get to add 1 Scareclaw monster from your deck to your hand. So you get to search and bring out another card. So bringing out this card is basically what you're supposed to go into. We're seeing it up against the newer archetype, the Abyss, which I would say is a little bit underwhelming. It's not what I consider like an S tier deck, but at the end of the day, is the Scareclaw archetype going to be an S tier deck as well? I would say at the moment, just checking out the gameplay. I mean, you go for the try-hard, and then you try to move everything to defense position, and then when they go for like their one play, as long as you stop that one like link monster play, if they don't have options to make other link monsters to get rid of this card, or if they can't deal with your disruptions, they will lose. It's basically a turn 1 try hard setup, maybe two negates. If you can make an Alpalooza, that'd be great, but a lot of times you will heavily have to invest into getting the try hard out. But I mean, it does protect itself. It's got decent stats, but some of the other monsters do other things. Like if you're a Scareclaw monster in the extra zone battles, you're gonna do piercing with this one. They all have some sort of like bonus effect potentially. There's one where it lets you attack equal to the number of something, up to the number of defense position Scareclaw monsters you control. So if there's like 3 extra defense position, you attack 3 times. Cool. I mean, is that really going to be something that people look forward to, attacking multiple times? Sure, you can OTK. So the main goal of the deck, this is pretty much like the go-to like S tier play. Try hard, stall, next turn go for Alpalooza so you can stop anything else that your opponent has, because they usually can't attack with everything, depending on the deck, of course. Then, unless you're playing like, what is it, Total Defense Shogun, or what is the other archetype, the Super Heavy Samurai where they can attack in defense mode. I mean, it's like, realistically, there's not very much stuff that it can attack in defense mode, right? So that's what the deck can do. We see a Borland Dragon out over here, but he's going to be able to keep that card alive. You have Nova over here, which basically tries to protect Tryhard. So what it does, if a Scareclaw link monster you control will be destroyed by battle by card effect, you banish it. They're always going to have this because it targets one, then special summons it in defense position. So it's not going to be uncommon for the deck to basically have Tryhard. Your whole goal is to make that 1 or 2 link monsters try to slam into it. They're going to use their disruption to keep this card up, and then next turn you get to special summon 1 and then add 1. And again, that's basically the bread and butter of it. But I'll show you guys a couple gameplays, a couple different builds. There's also a Tri Brigade build, which is a little bit different, which of course we'll show off. But it's mostly a link-oriented deck, but you can throw a bunch of things into defense position, because if everything is in defense position and you're also potentially reducing the stats, because remember, this also affects defense. So if there's an archetype, I think zombies is an archetype that there are a bunch of zeros, right? Where like you can just slam into everything, piercing 3 attacks. I mean, at 3k, hey, that's usually going to be game. But is that realistically what I would consider a good Yu-Gi-Oh archetype in 2022, probably not. Again, negate and destroy is the go-to. We see the Underworld Goddess of the Closed World, so you can use an opponent's Link monster as material for this card, and then on top of that, it gets to basically stop all the effects of face-up monsters your opponent currently controls, which is a good effect, and then it's unaffected by your opponent's activated effects, which I guess the other one kind of already has that effect, but this card could potentially be good just to get rid of some problematic card that your opponent does have. So you can see him make Heavenly Spheres. We've also got the Fateful Adventurer. There's a lot, I mean, the Adventurer tokens, I mean, they're in like everything, right? Nothing too special or new here. I'm going to see the Armir's activated over here, and he's going to go ahead and bring out the Griffin Rider, and he's going to get that effect, go for another Dragon Maid over there, and we're going to see Scareclaw Arrival. That's the one where you can banish it, but it lets you target one and then special summon it. And he's going to go ahead and go for Reichart, and he's going to go be like, nope, no effect for you, go into another one. But we got Akra going into the Tri-Heart. Tri-Heart lets him special summon, and then also let him searching out an additional card, and he can go for whatever he needs. He's going to go for that piercing, because sometimes that's a very important thing if your opponent tries to stall you out. He's just going to start popping some stuff. He gets rid of some of the cards. He's going to go swap into the Nurse Dragon Maid. Is he going to be able to deal that 500 points of damage? That's the real question here. This one's a little bit longer of a duel for sure. Generally, I mean, usually the ideal play is, again, Tri-Heart, stall, Appaloosa, piercing, 3 attacks, game about. Because this card, as long as it survives, I mean, you're getting +2 off of it. And a lot of the other cards just like bring back other Vista Starfrost or, of course, the Scareclaw cards. But yeah, setting things in defense position or just in defense position in general isn't like the most hot thing I know in Yu-Gi-Oh to do. But basically, he just has to stall, and you know what he's going to do? He's going to go for that effect once again. And keep in mind, this is actually an important effect. If 3 or more defense position monsters are on the field, that's not just your cards. That can be your opponents as well. And he's got food for days for Nico Talker to start smacking into everything. And then just go ahead and swing for game. And he's going to activate something, but he's got called by the grave, so no Dragon Maid coming out, and now he gets to swing directly for game. So that was like the first build over here by Undefeatable. I guess he's undefeated with this deck, Kappa. But let's check out the Tri-Brigade variant, as the Tri-Brigade variant is completely different. So again, a lot of the plays will go into Lich Heart. Sometimes all an archetype needs is that one card to actually become competitive and usable, right? I mean, just look at that Spellbook of Judgment, right? That deck it wasn't really good, but that card came out and then like everyone wanted to play it, right? Okay, so here's the variant of the Tri-Brigade one, because keep in mind, you don't have to require yourself to have like Scareclaw monsters to go for. I mean, obviously you need some Scareclaws to get the full effect of it, but they all don't have to be Scareclaws. It's just search one, special summon one. He goes for the evenly, that is going to be stopped. He's got the slash. I didn't get to read this card's effect, but it is continuous, so it's once per turn you can target a Scareclaw monster or Vista Starfrost you control. It can attack while in face-up defense position. This turn, if it does, you could apply its attack or defense, whichever is higher for damage calculation. But when your opponent activates a card or effect while you control a Scareclaw monster in the extra monster zone, you can send this face-up card to the graveyard to negate that effect. It does not destroy, though. That is kind of a downside with it, but hey, that's part of the archetype. So you can open up again with like 2 to 3 disruptions / negations. That could be the kind of the go-to here. He's got the Dark Dragoon. What are we going to do to get rid of that? Well, he does lose all the stats. He needs to actually activate the effect to get over the amount of stats that he needs for this. So Tri-Heart's going to go ahead and activate its effect once again. I mean, you could just attack over it too. That could be potentially another option. Get some piercing, maybe increase the stats or decrease his opponent's stats. That can also be a thing. So Vista Starfrost actually has a bonus effect a lot of people don't actually know about. It doesn't really get to see much play because it's usually just like, it's a tuner. It happens to be level 6. It's like great just in general. I've even seen dinosaur decks just throw this. This is like one of the best like generic, like, you know how before like everyone was like Destrudo throw it and everything, Jet Synchron, like there's extra tuners, right? This is kind of like the new like a tuner that a lot of different decks can use. So what it does is if it's in your hand, you target a monster you control with a different type and attribute, you destroy it and then special summon that card. The other bonus effect is when it destroys an opponent's monster by battle, you can make this card gain attack equal to the half of the original attack or defense of the monster, whichever is higher. So you can see, yeah, piercing is still like a viable way to win because everything's in defense position. What's interesting is one of the builds that I will show you guys will actually run an old school Yu-Gi-Oh card, because like you can't really run Wabaku in 2022 realistically. I mean, I've seen some people used to play it in Gladiator Beast way back in the day, but this is like modern Yu-Gi-Oh, right? So being able to Divine Wrath, dumping an extra Scareclaw can be okay. There's the other Book of Moon card where you can dump one to double Book of Moon, right? Like there's other cards where you can dump just because you need the cards in the graveyard to be able to target, get a special, get a search, you know. It can be okay if you want to go for that. But Magical Musketeers, I mean, they can come back very, very hard off of literally one card. I've always thought that this archetype was kind of underrated. I mean, just their Link monster is just so insane for advantage. But anyways, he's going to go ahead and attack. He's going to be able to protect it. Go attack. Get that 500 points directly with the Lich Heart. But yeah, Swords of Revealing Light may be an option if you really want to try to stall it with your defense push monsters, just so you can last. Because again, the deck doesn't have like a bunch of negates. It has like 2 to 3 at most in most circumstances. But yeah, this card pretty dang good. He's gonna go ahead and make the tryhard once again. He's gonna go ahead and start popping Desperado, targeting face up, so he doesn't have as many targets there. He's gonna attack over it. But again, this deck, all it needs is like one monster. Unfortunately, no drawing into it this turn. I just want to give you guys a few different builds. So he's going to go ahead and activate Slash over there. And he's just targeting one, and it can attack. Nothing that really matters, just so it's face up, so he can start negating things, because he maybe thinks he has some sort of extra card, because you can't really like play Battle Fader in this deck. But this was another interesting deck over here. We got one more last replay. Man, this is actually kind of a lot longer than I thought, but it's all right. We'll go ahead and check out the last one over here. So it's another Tri-Brigade variant of the deck. You can see it's just gonna go ahead and bread and butter. And then we got the Astra over here, because remember, your goal is to go for this card, and then he's gonna go with this, search out some extra cards, adding Scareclaw or Abyss of Starfrost. A lot of cards are just like free extra special summon. You can special summon this card to a zone in your main monster zone adjacent to a Scareclaw you control, and then also your Scareclaw in the extra monster zone gains 300 attack. So basically, a lot of the small monsters are like small little boosts to the bigger monster that you're trying to go for. And just basically just going into lots of Link monsters. I mean, you could use this for fuel for access code. I mean, that's a pretty good card. I'm sure everyone has seen this card before. And again, since you're using a lot of cards as stepping stones, you go to Tryhard. And then again, you have this potentially as a disruption. You also got Revolt to go right into another card over here. Then going into a Tri-Brigade Link monster can be a viable option. We'll see how it does against the new Labyrinth stuff, which is something we will cover very soon as well. Gosh, I didn't realize that this video would be so long. But the first gameplay was really, really long. He's got the Torrential Tribute ready to go for next turn, but that's fine. We're going to go ahead and see Omen come out, and all of the chains, all the bonus effects, I'm going to be dumping one over there, and we got rid of the Welcome Labyrinth, and he's going to go ahead and backtrack over there, and he's going to go ahead and now get rid of the Torrential Tribute that we knew that he had. John on top of things with the Tri-Brigade variant. So there's different ways to play the deck. It's not just like Scareclaw only. I'm going to go ahead and mouse over the deck profiles real quick, just so any of you guys that do want them, you can kind of check them out and see if they are to your liking. But I'll also include the one-click download via the Discord in case any of you guys do want to go for that. A lot of people main decking TD Crow, definitely seeing a lot more play. We didn't get to really talk about it during the gameplay, but for the most part, yeah, since they are beasts, you can rescue cat. I mean, that's just summons it, and then you just go for like one to two. So yeah, like I mentioned before, like I've seen a few people play 1 Day of Peace. So like you can keep your Scareclaw alive. I don't know if I really like that, because giving your opponent an extra card and having them set up for like so many negations, these are kind of like cards that I'm kind of curious to see. I could see Lightning Vortex, because again, you do a lot of times want to dump that one card just so you have the extra target, so you can special then search. But the main star player and the newer card is Lich Heart to make the deck a lot more viable. Now, I'm curious to know, what do you guys think of this deck? Do you think it's an S tier deck? Do you think it's just like, oh, whatever, it's not going to really see any play? I really feel like it's kind of one of those, a new card came out, it sees a little bit of play, and then it just falls off. Unless we get more support. I mean, again, all you're doing, your play is Lich, and then, well, you can go for this too. And there's, if you want to go for another, like, rank 4, potentially, or like one more monster, but like consistently throwing out, you know, like multiple cards, you're looking at like a 3 negate, maybe 4 would be really pushing it if you consider, like, you know, your hand traps and imperms and stuff. But from those parts, like 2 to 3 negations, and then on top of that, you're following up next turn with a bigger play. But anyways, that's gonna be it, guys, for the video. If you guys enjoyed it, drop a like on if you're new here and you want to see more stuff in the future. Subscribe, turn the bell so you don't miss out, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Take care, peace. And that's the Scareclaws.